Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. The other day, Bill Harris, the former CEO of PayPal and Intuit and current CEO of Personal Capital, was on CNBC, and he said some very interesting things. He basically called Bitcoin a fraud, which I thought was hilarious, and that the rest of us crypto quote-unquote traders are drinking the Kool-Aid, which I find very funny. So what's funny to me is that he says there's no reason that a new currency should instantly have billions of dollars in value. And then in an apparent, and I'm reading this from, I believe it's Cointelegraph, in an apparent comparison of his own autograph to the digital scarcity of Bitcoin, meaning Bitcoin's total supply will be 21 million, currently 17 million. It'll probably take another 120 years to mine the remaining 4 million Bitcoins. But there's obviously a finite amount of Bitcoin. So an apparent comparison of his own autograph to the digital scarcity of Bitcoin, with no regard for the actual utility of either, Harris told CNBC, "My autograph is scarce. I can promise that I will never autograph a piece of paper more than 21 million times, but it doesn't make it valuable." Harris calls blockchain, the technology behind most cryptocurrencies, terrific. But he underlined again to CNBC that a new currency is not needed to accompany the new technology. There's the currency like Bitcoin, then there's the technology. Blockchain technology has terrific applications, including financial transactions, but we don't need a new currency to do it. Obviously, PayPal's current CEO, Peter Thiel, is bullish on Bitcoin, last month describing the currency as a hedge against the whole world falling apart. So here's what I find really funny, okay? So like I said, Bill Harris, former CEO of PayPal, former CEO of Intuit, prominent figure, well respected in the Valley, that is. But he's also the CEO of Personal Capital. Well, he was, and then he stepped down. He's the CEO of Personal Capital Corporation, which is essentially a fund, and they have like financial tools and so on. So his background, he's a Harvard graduate. He's very well respected in the fintech sector, but I find it's very interesting. They have $6.5 billion under management, and if you were to, I believe you have to be an accredited investor. I haven't gone through their entire site, but if you wanted to invest your money with a Personal Capital and have them manage your money, basically where they throw your money in is U.S. equities. We buy a well-diversified sample of at least 70 individual stocks to provide the advantages of our tactical weighting approach and for tax optimization. For fixed income and alternatives, we use a combination of low-cost traded funds, ETFs. This combination allows for the highest degree of diversification and the lowest fund cost. So here it is. They're managing a ton of money, and they're investing into the U.S. stock market, essentially, and index funds and ETFs. And you don't think this guy has relationships with these companies that are listed on the NASDAQ, on the S&P 500, with these ETFs? Of course he does, right? So Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, hence currencies, are a threat to the traditional financial system. They are a threat to the entire financial infrastructure of our global economy. So of course you're going to get a guy like this who's going to say, hey, you guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. This is the most colossal, massive pump and dump ever known to mankind, because he's selling you a narrative. The reason why I read off from the Q&A regarding Personal Capital, because again, Bitcoin is a threat to his business. Bitcoin is a threat to his clients. So we've seen this before. Back in September, Jamie Dimon came on, I think it was on at one of these conferences, and you know, obviously they displayed it on CNBC and some of these other broadcast channels, stating that Bitcoin's a fraud, but he loves underlying technology, blockchain. And that affected the price of Bitcoin. Now, obviously, Jamie Dimon has a lot more, his words carry more weight than Bill Harris does. But what we saw a few days later, I think it was a few days later, a week later, was there was a huge order on JP Morgan's books. And I'm not being accurate here right now because I haven't Googled it, but I just remember, just off of memory, back in September, this is days after he mentioned that he thought Bitcoin was a fraud. And obviously he retracted from what he had, from accusing Bitcoin of being a fraud. But there was a huge order of Bitcoin on their books. And I find this funny. So I'm just speculating here. This is not factual, obviously, because this interview just happened a couple days ago. I think this guy's selling us his Kool-Aid. Obviously, he's very wrong in his assessment of Bitcoin. I don't think he's stupid. You know, he's a Harvard graduate. He's very well respected in the fintech space. He's a former, like I said, former PayPal and Intuit CEO. He has $6.5 billion under asset management. He knows what he's doing, and he's selling a narrative. And this is what happens like very frequently. CNBC, some of these shows will have some of these prominent figures at times say something negative, especially about Bitcoin. And the narrative here is that, first of all, they're speaking to the to the retail investor, right? So the retail investor, the average retail investor, is probably watching CNBC, or they're going to see a Facebook post of this guy, Bill Harris, saying what he said, and they're probably going to get spooked. And the premise here and the narrative here, the Kool-Aid that these guys are selling, is to get you out of your portfolio, man. Is to shake you off the tree because they want to scoop up cheaper Bitcoin. Now, his premise that Bitcoin has no value is complete bullshit. Bitcoin has more intrinsic value than gold, because Bitcoin you can transact with speed. As a matter of fact, the mempool is not as full as it was months ago during December when fees were high. Right now, we could probably send, I mean, I'm not saying I have this by any means, I don't, but somebody, if they had, you know, 50,000 Bitcoin right now, they could probably transact and send 50,000 Bitcoin from one wallet to the other, no matter where they are in the world. And mind you, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market is borderless. They could probably do it and have the transaction done within minutes. The last time I sent Bitcoin from one wallet to the other, which was weeks ago, just took a matter of a couple minutes, and the fees were like, I don't remember, it was way under $1. So what I'm saying is that the value is, we all know this, I don't need to repeat this, but we all know the value is it's borderless, it's censorship resistant, which is why we do need a currency such as Bitcoin to basically plug us out of the traditional financial markets, which is centralized to the governments and to the banks that run this global economy. And obviously these banks are tailored towards, you know, being prosperous for the wealthy and robbing from everyone else. This is what Bitcoin does. It allows us to plug out of that system and take back our freedom and liberate us from this bullshit financial the financial infrastructure that we're living in today. So one, Bitcoin is censorship resistant, it is decentralized, it is fast, it is easy to use. These are things we already know, man, but these are things that this guy doesn't talk about. So instead, and words are very powerful, okay? Don't listen to anyone. Listen, but then do your own research, do your homework. Even in this video that I'm doing right now, there could be some things I missed, and there could be some discrepancies that I overlooked, or there could be discrepancies in what I said, you know what I mean? So no one's perfect. So what I say is, don't buy into what everyone says. Do your research. Pay attention, listen, but then don't just buy in so easily. Do your own research. So when you're on CNBC or you're watching CNBC, which I would recommend not to, but if you ever come across these Facebook posts where CNBC, Bill Harris says that Bitcoin's a fraud, don't get spooked. You know, don't read the article, sure, learn from it, or learn what bullshit these people are spitting out there, and then do your own research. Really understand the underlying technology, understand Bitcoin. Bitcoin's protocol is the most censorship resistant out of all the protocols, and it's the largest network by far. It is the most secure protocol blockchain on the planet as of now. So for this guy to come out and say, oh, I love the underlying technology, but Bitcoin's a fraud, to me, that's an oxymoron. To me, that's just, I know he's not a dumb guy. He's a very smart guy for him to get to where he's at. And there's a narrative here he's selling. But the premise of this video is to get you to realize, like, don't buy into this bullshit, okay? understand this market, learn about the underlying technology, learn what separates Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum from the rest of the pack. Learn about NEO, learn about these different protocols and what the difference is in each protocol. Try to understand as much as you can so you can identify discrepancies, not just in the tokens, but in the Kool-Aid that's being served to you on the internet. So again, I just wanted to address Bill Harris's video. And again, guys, just don't drink the Kool-Aid these guys are serving you. Hope you guys have a good day. Talk to you guys soon.